Oh boy, 2024 just keeps getting better and better. And if you can't hear it in my voice, that's sarcasm. Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle. They call me the Honey Badger because I give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business. And this is your October 2024 RV industry update. Now, before I launch, I have a question for you. Why have you and your family put off buying a new or used RV here in 2024? Let me know in the comments section. Now, that question has relevance a little bit more down the road in this video, but where we need to start is with RV financing, which is very positive news because the Fed actually lowered interest rates 0.5 point. In September, they announced that they're going to lower the Fed rate from 5.75 to 5.25 average, or 5.5 to 5% average. I forgot which one off the top of my head. Some kind of range in between there. But they dropped the Fed rate 0.5 point. Now, why that's significant is because over the course of the next, let's call it 60 days, the credit unions and the banks will fall in line and start dropping the RV interest rates. Now, the bad thing behind this is there's so much speculation of how many rate cuts, when are the rate cuts, how far down are they going to cut the rates, how far down and how soon are they going to cut the rates. It's going to pretty much put the RV industry on pause, and the boat industry and the auto industry and the real estate industry. It's going to put all those industries at a complete standstill because the majority of people are like, oh my God, the news says that they're going to drop rates 3 more times this year, and they're going to drop it like 5 or 10 times next year. Or whatever the case may be, whatever sarcastic thing you want me to come up with. This is both a really good thing and a bad thing. But this slow process of dropping rates and all the speculation is just going to keep people at home. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments section. Okay? Now, the other side of it is, as interest rates drop, dealers are going to raise their prices and their profit margins. Now, I do have something for you that will help you out. In fact, if you become a member of this channel, if you pay for the subscription, I'm going to give exclusive content on how RV invoice pricing, how financing works. I'm going to be completely transparent on those videos. And of course, that will blacklist me from the industry where RV dealerships will never hire me again. So yeah, it's got to be a paid for type of video. So if you go and actually pay for the membership, you'll see videos every 2 weeks that's going to be exclusive and extremely transparent, okay? But the reality is, dealerships will be excited because the cost of their actual floor plan or the cost of the loans they take out for the inventory is going to slowly go down. But at the same time, consumers are just going to wait. I mean, they're going to sit there and go, okay, so if I wait till July, I'm going to get a way better rate than I will if I buy today. But it's that misunderstanding of how profit and loss works and how interest rates actually push down prices. So the higher the interest rate, the more pressed down prices are, the more pressed down profits are. And if dealers are not dropping their prices or haven't dropped their prices and went out of business, that's because they're morons, okay? If you did not start taking losses on your 23s and 24s, you're an idiot, okay? And we'll just leave it at that, all right? Now, the other thing that really needs to be updated, and I'm going to do a more in-depth video on this, is consumers that buy RVs need to be concerned about California AB 1755, okay? Now, I read this. This was signed into law September 29, 2024. And when you have, watch this, when you have the factories, including Ford, Hyundai, RVIA, RVDA, when you have manufacturers that are backing a law in California that is supposed to be a consumer protection law, that's scary. Okay, now I'm going to read more in depth to it, but what it is it is basically to cut out as many lemon law cases as possible. It is more or less an ability for manufacturers of anything, boats, RVs, motorcycles, etc., cars, to drag out the lemon law process. Because what it does, and what RVIA President Mr. Kirby says, is it's going to accelerate the warranty process. How? If it's just about talking to the right person, that's what they said. It's about talking to the right person. How the heck are you going to find the right person when you already have a tough enough time getting a hold of anybody at a manufacturer? And it's not just the RV industry. The RV industry is just a part of it. It's also the auto industry, the boat industry. So California, that normally has one of the toughest consumer protection policies and laws in the United States, is now all of a sudden backing off a little. Doesn't that seem a little weird? Now, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on AB 1755. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on it and how it affects all other 49 states in the United States down the road later on this month in October. Okay, that's going to be a very in-depth thing like I did with the older RV registrations about 2 years ago. And hopefully that'll help folks out understand what it really is. But just think about it. If manufacturers of any kind, factories of any kind, Fortune 500 companies, stock exchange companies are backing this law, doesn't that kind of scare you as a consumer? If they were against it, that means it's got more consumer protections in it than what they really want. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments section, okay? The next thing we really need to cover is dealer days. Dealer days was an atrocity in Elkhart, Indiana. I've talked to several people that were there that are dealerships, and I've talked to several people there that are, we'll say, on the factory side, okay? We're going to say also on the banking side, and we'll say also on the vendor side. I talked to a bunch of people, and they said it was absolutely, how do I put it? I guess the best word is depressing. Look, there's some really good stuff in there. There's a lot of good stuff in 2025 products. There's really good interior design. Some of the brands and manufacturers, as I've said in the podcast, have kind of caught up to the present day camper and actually started putting solar on the coach standard, and not a little 50 amp panel, but an actual 220 watt system, 190 watt system, an actual 30 amp charge controller, actually putting bigger fridges in, actually putting electric jacks on things. They're starting to figure out that today's consumer is about price and value. See, last year and in early 2023 models, they were stripping crap out of the rigs. They were stripping stuff out and not really lowering the cost, just stripping things out to lower their price, right? And the reality is that stuff is still sitting out there in dealership lots. All that stripped down stuff that has nothing to it. The stuff that has no furnace or has a side mounted AC or has no solar or has no jacks or anything like that. That stuff's still sitting. Can you believe it? That cheap stuff that's so priced right in the market is still sitting in dealer yards. What's selling? Well, when it sells, it's generally used, or it's stuff that is valued correctly with the equipment that people expect from the RV industry for their type of camping. Most people, even if they're going to plug in campgrounds, want solar. Even people that, are not typically off the grid campers want the ability to put lithium batteries on their trailer or on their motorhome. Okay. A lot of people that buy fifth wheels want a third AC. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And finally, here in 2025 year model, we have a lot of the manufacturers that were behind the times, a stuffed dealer is a loyal dealer, have caught up to the times and finally have realized, holy crap, we have to create value. We have to be at the right price point with the right amount of equipment. Duh. But the hard part is they didn't figure out or haven't figured out that they have to take care of all the crap and garbage that they screwed up on for the last 2.5 years. And here's what I mean for that for you guys that are the consumer, the people that are the RVer, okay? In an average year, in a really good economy, okay, this is before COVID, the industry would average between 300 and 350,000 RVs sold a year, okay? So roughly between 0.75% and 1.5% of the US population actually goes and buys a new RV. That's not including used, that's not including private party sales. That's just going to the dealership and buying a used RV from a 17B Coleman at Camping World all the way up to a big $4 million Marathon by Prevost, okay? Or Prevost, sorry. So the reality is, watch this folks, the reality is that they still haven't figured out how to take care of the 22s, 23s, and 24s that are still stuffing dealer lots, okay? Let's imagine this. COVID and all the craziness of TVs being bought and trucks and cars and all the shortages, did manufacturers of everything, cars, boats, RVs, did they think that was gonna go on forever? So let's think about this. You had over 600,000 RVs built in 2021. You had close to 300,000 built in 2020. You had 550,000 built and sent out in 2022. And you had close to what, 380,000. So let's round up to 400,000 that were built in 2023. Okay, so let's add that up. Let's just add up 2021, 22, and 23. That comes out to, let's see, 1.8 to 1.9 million RVs that were built in a 3-year period. Now let's divide that by 350,000 units. That means you built close to a 5-year supply of RVs in 2.5 to 3 years. Really? And you thought that you could just keep building? Are you serious? See, that's the problem. No one stopped to think, hey, this isn't gonna last forever. Let's slow down. Nobody thought that. It was empty the yards, quick. We overbuilt, empty the yards, do whatever you can. Stuffed dealer is a loyal dealer. The customers go out and buy them. I know interest rates are at their peak, but they'll go buy them. And then it's shoving inventory down dealers' throats, shoving it down dealers' throats, shoving it down your throat. I mean, they've tried everything. I mean, last year I did a video about their whole TikTok and Instagram thing that they try to get you guys to pressure the dealers to ordering 24s. Remember that? If you don't remember that, I'll link it in the description box if you guys want to rewatch it. I did a whole video on that. Pissed off one of the executives at the RV factory level. And no, it wasn't Grand Design. Okay, the person that's mad at me has pretty much, we'll say, helped blacklist me out of the industry. I don't know why. I think we could have worked together. And I still have that olive branch. If that person wants to call me and work things out, he's got my number. I know he does. Okay, if you don't know how I know he does, it's because probably half of his employees have my phone number. And no, I'm not going to give it away yet, okay? I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the olive branch. I'm going to give them the entire month of October before I decide to expose this person, okay? Or at least expose where they work. All right. So the next thing we really need to talk about is the used RV market. The used RV market is actually pretty solid, okay? I'm actually excited about the used RV market. The reason why I'm excited is because more and more people that have the title of their RV are finally becoming reasonable that COVID prices are not going to work. We're getting a lot more. Now, You're not going to buy a used RV for 5 cents on the dollar or 3 cents on the dollar. That isn't going to happen. People would rather hold on to their RVs or repo them to the bank than to sell them for 3 or 4 cents on the dollar. So stop that, okay? Behave yourself. When it comes to the used RV market, it's very strong on the financing side of it. There's a lot of banks, a lot of lenders that are starting to understand that that's where they're going to make their money, is in the used RV market, okay? Very positive stuff. The other thing that you have to realize is the used RV market is getting stronger as far as the buyers are becoming more reasonable and the sellers are becoming more reasonable. And this includes dealerships. You got to give dealerships credit where credit's due. They're doing a good job of balancing it out. Now, who I feel bad for is I feel bad for Grand Design fifth wheel owners, okay? And this is the reason why I feel bad for any Grand Design owner at this point. The reason why I feel bad for Grand Design owners is because of the, how do I put this? Because of the response from Grand Design and Winnebago. Not because of the problem, but because of the response from the frame failure / frame flex issue that Grand Design is allegedly going through. And because they've put so many brand ambassadors in your face saying these people are liars or rumor or it's overblown or whatever the case may be, people are smarter than that, okay? This is what I would tell a Grand Design fifth wheel owner at this point. Even if you've had zero problems, even if you're absolutely in love with Grand Design and their products, you love the company, you'll never say a bad word to the company, your voice is just as important as the people that are going through these Armageddon frame problems. This is not fake, guys, and this is not overblown. I have talked to more people than I really wanted to do, because the reality is it pisses me off the more I hear about it, and it upsets me the more I hear about it, that a company like Winnebago and Grand Design that built this brand up to be on the pedestal it's on, with all the money people have spent to be able to own one of those, to not get the level of customer service that they deserve is disturbing. Because it lowers, there's several levers that get pulled, okay? One of the levers that gets pulled is it devalues the people's rigs that aren't having problems. Because now the question is in a consumer and a dealer's mind, okay, if I've got 1,000 people out there on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook talking about it, how many people have the problem that won't say anything out of fear? And when you have RV dealership YouTubers, corporate RV dealership YouTubers that have 300,000 subscribers, and they come on the internet and say exactly what Grand Design wants them to say, and their company wants them to say, which is, you know, it's only half of a 1% of frames are having this problem. And we're starting to see more and more people have this problem, and more service centers starting to expose this problem. You start to wonder, how big is the problem? And why is it mainly Grand Design? Why is it predominantly Grand Design with all the allegations? It's the allegations of how they're handling it. It's not the problem. If the problem was handled properly, no matter how big or small the problem is, then Grand Design would be the heroes. And your fifth wheel or your travel trailer would have maximum value and hold its value, okay? Here's a great example. Subarus are always known to hold their value. If Subaru had a transmission problem that was an Armageddon level issue, and they came out and said a stat that may or may not be true, and decided to have crappy customer service with it and not take care of the problem at hand with pre-owned or new, do you think Subaru would still hold its value? No, that's the answer. No, they wouldn't, okay? So you got to tie that into the RV industry. So I'm calling on all Grand Design fifth wheel and travel trailer and toy hauler owners, whether you love them or not. I don't want you to go on and scream and yell. I want you, the people that are not having a problem, I want you to call the Winnebago CEO and the Grand Design CEO, Don Clark, and I want you guys to tell them that you are concerned about the value of your fifth wheel, and you are concerned that you spent all this money and now your rig may be worth nothing in the future because of the reaction of Grand Design. The more you guys talk about it directly to them, you don't need to talk about it publicly to me or publicly online. You need to go directly to Winnebago and voice your concern as loud as you can, because that's the way change occurs. It's like a union, right? Unions get together and strike to get better work conditions. You as the person that bought it, you as the owner of it, need to voice your concern that even though you're not having any signs of problems, even though you're not having any problems, you are worried that your rig will be worth nothing in 5 years because of the reaction that these guys are having, because they may or may not be giving accurate information through brand ambassadors and through RV dealership YouTubers, okay? So that's realistically where we're at in the industry, okay? Final thought, okay? I believe that the reason why you guys are not buying RVs, if I had to take a guess, and I'm going to read the comments later, I would say that quality was number one. I would guarantee you that quality concerns was number one concern in the comments section. If I'm wrong, then I'll pin a comment saying I'm an idiot, okay? And believe me, if you don't think I will, and you don't know me very well, I will, okay? Just a reminder, if you do buy a membership, you're going to get exclusive content into all the dealership secrets, RV dealership secrets, so that way you understand how much profit a dealership is really making on a transaction. And guys, you have to let them make money. Dealerships have to make money to stay in business. You can't sit there and take the information I give you and never buy an RV because a dealer won't sell it to you for invoice. But at least you walk out of the dealership with a transparency, knowing how much money they really made on you. So that way you don't feel like they hit a home run. That way when you go to trade in, somebody doesn't say, well, that salesperson's must be stealing Tahiti on what they sold it to you for. We're going to talk about trade-ins and how not to get ripped off on a trade. We're going to talk about how you don't get ripped off on financing. This is exclusive content that's going to get me banned from working at any RV dealership ever again. So I hope you guys understand and respect it, and respect the fact that I do have a charge for it, okay? If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section as well. Also, you can email me. Email is in the description box below. And if you guys really want to know the basics, the absolute basics of the differences between 2024 and 2025 year model products, that video is right there in that corner. Until next time, remember, toolkit and sense of humor.